A very good morning, dear students. I extend a very warm welcome to all of you after this summer break. I hope you all are doing great. I hope you all are safe and sound at your houses. I hope, children, you all have completed the assignments which are being given to you before the summer vacation, and you must have been ready with the work so that as soon as the dates are announced to submit your assignments, you are ready with the work. Now, to begin with the new chapter, in history, children, we should recall what previously was taught to you in the previous chapter, which was chapter 2, From Trade to Territory. We all know this, that the East India Company initially came to India for trading. Then the mindset was changed, that was from trade switching over to capture our territories. I know Rolly ma'am has taught this chapter to you all. So let us just do a quick recap and then we will move further to the new chapter, which is ruling the countryside. So to begin with the new chapter, we should keep in mind what was previously being taught so that we can connect it with the new chapter, because just jumping into the new chapter won't solve your purpose. Children, now from trade to territory talked about East India Company was coming from East. In 1600, Royal Charter was granted to East India Company. It was a Royal Charter which was granting the sole right to trade with the East. Then East India Company bought goods at cheap prices, sold them at a higher price in Europe. Then children, East India Company begins to trade in Bengal. So it was like when after purchasing these items and children sending them to their company, East India Company started trading in Bengal. Then it was in 1651, children, the first English factory was set up on the banks of river Hooghly, and it was opened up in Surat in 1608. Then Aurangzeb issued a farman granting the company the right to trade duty free. So Aurangzeb gave this right to East India Company to have trade without any duties, any customs to be given. Then the company tried to press for more concessions and manipulate existing privilege. Children, this is a natural tendency. When any businessman gets any privilege, then the businessman tries to get more privileges so that his business should establish more accurately and more firmly over that place. Then children, what happened? The company Then Aurangzeb, the company tried to press for more concessions and manipulate existing privileges. For trading purpose, the passes were issued to the company officials, but they misused these powers for private interest, children. Soon, because of private trade, companies suffered and went into losses. To cure this, British government made strict rules. Children, when power comes into one's hand, it is very obvious that some people try to get fascinated with that power, and then they misuse that power. So after that, children, when British company saw that East India Company is going through extreme losses, then East India Company maintained and formulated new strict rules. Then children, from trade to battles to conquer places, because after the death of Aurangzeb, the Bengal Nawabs asserted their power and autonomy. Then the Nawabs of Bengal refused to grant the company concessions as it was making the revenue from Bengal trade less profitable. Now children, once Aurangzeb issued the farman, but when Aurangzeb died, then the Nawabs of Bengal realized that because of East India Company, Bengal was going through heavy losses in the trade. After this, children, the British and their interest to capture territories led to Battle of Plassey, because Battle of Plassey has happened because of the result of denying of trading rights. Because the trading rights were being denied by the Bengal Nawabs, so Battle of Plassey was fought. After that, Battle of Buxar, children, and then company rules expanded. the process of annexation of Indian states by the East India Company from 1757 to 1857 brought forth some key aspects, like the company rarely launched a direct military attack on its unknown territory. So, children, all these things, initiated had put a pressure on East India Company to make and formulate strict rules. After that, children, we have seen, you must have read in the chapter about Tipu Sultan, how he fought, then Anglo-Maratha war, the war between the British and the Marathas. Then how did British come forward with the new doctrine of lapse, where if the king dies without his own son, then the whole empire goes into the hands of British. Then, children, it is like from this, now we will come to know that what was actually, children, the reason of ruling, having that desire to rule over India. So now we will see ruling the countryside. Before jumping in the chapter, children, I would like you all to just go through the chapter again, so that we are, knowing this, that children are working hard and the chapter is understood by all. Children, history is nothing, but it is very interesting in a story form of a version, story version of history. Maybe fascinating other students, right? If we are discussing history in a form of interesting story, it is no more boring now, children. Thinking history is just talking about facts, what has happened in the past, it is of no use. No, children, it helps us to know our past, then thinking to take care of our present and planning for our future. So history is very interesting if we put in deep interest, and then learning history in this way that we are just discussing the events which have happened in a very friendly way, maybe bringing a lot of interest in yourselves. So children, try to read the chapters and understand how we are explaining and what we are discussing. This happens only when you know the chapter actually. Alright, so before coming to the chapter, children, I would like you to know a simple introduction of ruling the countryside. Now, when this happened, that with so many doctrines, Britishers wanted to annex our Indian states, what happened after that, children? The East India Company was made the Diwan of Bengal on 12th August. On 12th August 1765. By then, Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II, he was actually the Shah Alam II, the company became of the chief financial advisor of the territory of Bengal. He was being made the chief financial advisor of the territory of Bengal. Then the first important incident was the company was made the Diwan of Bengal. Then the company officials understood the one important aspect of expanding their base in India. How will they expand their base? To conquer and occupy all our territories. Then it was one important base of expanding their base in India. They understood the importance of those children who had ruled the countryside in the past, and they have enjoyed the authority and prestige. It is very important for the Britishers to understand this fact, that it is not possible to expand their rule without the help of the rulers who have enjoyed the power and authority in the past. So the company wanted to be very careful and not to annoy these people. Who are these people? These people are those who have been ruling our country in the past, and they are having a lot of power and authority. So company wanted to have cordial relations with them. They didn't want to make them unhappy, because then the company would not be able to expand its power, children. Now, children, after this we will just get to know the important points of the chapter. I will be discussing the chapter like this in a story form, so that you can know what incidents happened, and then you can recall while you are reading the chapter, because just reading the chapter, I feel, won't be solving the purpose. So It is like when the company was already sure of to expand its rule in the country, then obviously we know that we should not make any person unhappy who has the complete power to make us feel more privileged. Now look at the points which are being discussed in the chapter one by one. On 12th August 1765, the Mughal Emperor appointed East India Company as the Diwan of Bengal. The actual event most probably took in Robert Clive's tenure with a few Englishmen and Indians witnesses. So this incident holds the importance of this chapter, that the company was being made the Diwan of Bengal, right? And under whose tenureship? Robert Clive. Then in the painting which is shown in the chapter, children, the event is shown as a majestic occasion taking place in a grand setting. The painter was commissioned by Clive to record the memorable events in Clive's life. Children, nowadays we are having digital photography, cameras, selfie modes, mobile phones with good quality of camera and all. But in earlier times, like we have been fond of taking pictures of our important moments. What do you think in the previous time the kings or the nawabs used to do? Obviously, they used to ask the painters to record that historic, that memorable moment through a well painted form. In the canvas, they try to jot that historical moments which have been holding the important place into the Nawabs or the king's hearts. So all the kings in the earlier times used to have paintings done of the important events which took place in their tenure of kingship. So the Clive wanted to have this memorable moment on the canvas so that they should get to know that this incident was so important. The grant of Diwani rights clearly was one such event in the British imagination. So getting the grant of Diwan was a very important moment, children. Now after this, I'll give you important details of Robert Clive. Robert Clive was born on 25th September 1725. Then his full name was Robert Clive, children, and then he was the one under whose guidance the Diwani rights were being given to Britishers or the East India Company. Now, when Diwani rights of Bengal were being given to Britishers, now what happened? What started going on in the minds of the Britishers? They wanted to improve agriculture. Was the motive of improving agriculture was our benefit, the benefit of Indian citizens of Bengal? No, it was their benefit. How? I'll tell you. How this, after 2 decades of debates on the question, the company finally introduced the permanent settlement in 1793. By the terms of the settlement, the Rajas and Talukidars were recognized as Zamindars. First thing, how to improve agriculture. Children, when we get into one problem, we try to see what are the circumstances, what are the conditions prevailing, and then we think what can be done to improve this situation. Similarly, in this time when the Rajas and the Talukidars, they were being called as Zamindars who own the important pieces of land. Then they were asked to collect the rent from the peasants and pay revenue to the company. It is very simple. For example, we have a school, we have our coordinators. If any amount has to be collected for any kind of competition, the coordinators tell us to collect it. So we are the class teachers, we will take care of our class, and then we will collect the amount and give it to coordinators, and the coordinators will submit it in the school. Similar was the case in this. For example, the Rajas and the Talukidars were being known as Zamindars because they were having those pieces of Zameen, and then they were asked to collect the revenue which was being paid by the farmers or the peasants. And then these Zamindars will pay this revenue to the British East India Company. I hope this much is clear, children. Then the amount was to be paid was fixed permanently, that it was not to be increased even in future. It was felt that this would ensure a regular flow of revenue into the company's treasure and at the same time encourage the seminars to invest in improving the land. So if we say, okay, the price will not be increased for so and so competition, then children will be happy to know, chalo chalo, now we won't be getting to pay much price and the prices are fixed. Similar was the case. Permanent settlement had this important condition that no more further increment in the prices of revenue of lands to be done, and they will not be increased in the future. So this was one step towards the permanent settlement. Through this way, what was the motive? Improve agriculture, children. So children, this was the way to improve the agriculture so that the Britishers could benefit themselves. Now after this, children, the Munro system was introduced. In the British territories in the south, there was a similar move away from the idea of permanent settlement. The new system that was devised came to be known as Rayatwar or Rayatwari. It was tried on a small scale by Captain Alexander in his reign, then in some areas that were taken over by the company after the wars with Tipu Sultan. Subsequently developed by Thomas Munro, the system was gradually extended all over South India. So in this the settlement, they argued and had to made directly with the cultivation, who had tilled the land for generations. Their fields had to be carefully and separately surveyed before the revenue assessment was made. So this was a little twist. Munro system was a little twist with knowing in detail the owners of the land, and then the land will be assessed on that basis, children. Children, I would like to stop here, and then I would request you all to go through the chapter and read the chapter very nicely, so that in the next class when we come together, you people are well knowing the content, and then I will explain the chapter, and then the chapter will be comprehended by everyone. So it is my humble request, children, please go through the chapter and read it properly and thoroughly, so that if you have any doubt, you may bring it up in the class or in the comment section in your Google Classroom app. Thank you so much, children. Have a safe day. Enjoy. Keep learning. Keep studying. Bye bye and take care.